Prepping Saturday. We always are talking about first aid, and I feel like the channel has not got enough first aid information. So on Prepping Saturdays, I'm going to be bringing first aid information to the channel, along with some other really interesting topics, down to earth, real world prepping. I hope you enjoy this first one that I put together for us. It's all about first aid. Welcome to the Off the Wall Prepper. Welcome to Down to Earth Prepping Saturdays.
Out in the wilderness, the unexpected can happen at any moment. The only thing that could make a survival situation more difficult is going about it with an injury. So having a solid understanding of first aid can prevent further complications or improve your situation until advanced help is available. You could be navigating treacherous terrain, foraging for food, or even just setting up camp, and things can go south pretty quickly. We're diving deep into 11 essential first aid skills that can literally be a lifesaver when you're out in the wild. These skills are all about empowering you to take control in emergency situations and increase your chances of survival.
All right, let's talk about wounds. Knowing how to close a wound properly is vital. First, control the bleeding. Apply direct pressure with a clean cloth or your hand. Once bleeding stops, clean the wound. Use clean water and antiseptic wipes or water from your bottle. Close the wound with butterfly bandages or adhesive strips. Keep the wound clean and covered. Watch for signs of infection, redness, swelling, pus. Blisters, those pesky little things, can be a real pain, literally. Long treks with ill-fitting boots are a recipe for blistered feet. Prevention is key. Make sure you've broken in your boots before any serious expeditions and carry moleskin or duct tape to create a barrier over any hotspots you feel developing. But if you do get a blister, don't panic. First, clean the area with soap and water, if you have some. If the blister is small and not too painful, it's best to leave it alone. Just cover it with a bandage to protect it from further rubbing. If it's large and painful or looks like it's about to burst, you'll need to drain it. Once it's drained, clean it again and apply an antibiotic ointment if you have some. Fire. It's essential for survival, but it can also be incredibly dangerous if you're not careful. Burns are a serious matter in survival situations. First and foremost, get away from the heat source. Then, assess the burn. Is it a first-degree burn, second-degree, or third-degree? First-degree burns are red and painful, but don't have any blisters. Second-degree burns will have blisters and be very painful. Third-degree burns are the most serious and will look charred or white. For minor burns, the first step is to cool the burn. Cool running water is your best bet. If you can find a stream or spring, immerse the burn for at least 10 minutes. Once the burn is cooled, gently clean it with soap and water if you have some. You can apply aloe vera gel or a burn cream if you have it, but in a real pinch, even honey can help soothe the burn and prevent infection. For more serious burns, especially third-degree burns, cover the burn with a clean, dry dressing and seek medical attention immediately. Chapter 4. First Aid for Bites and Stings. In the wild, you're sharing territory with all sorts of creatures, and some of them bite and sting. Bites from snakes, spiders, and insects can be painful and sometimes venomous. The first rule is to identify what bit you. Try to get a good look without putting yourself in danger. Remember, your safety is paramount. For venomous snake bites, time is crucial. Keep the bitten area below your heart. Stay calm and get to a hospital quickly. For spider bites, clean the area and apply a cold compress. Remove insect stingers, clean the area and apply a cold compress. Chapter 5. Fracture and Sprain Management. One wrong step on uneven terrain and snap, you could be facing a fracture or sprain. A fracture is a break in the bone, while a sprain is an injury to the ligaments that hold your joints together. Both are incredibly painful and debilitating in a survival situation. The first thing you need to do is assess the severity of the injury. Look for any obvious deformities, swelling, or bruising. If the pain is severe or you can't put any weight on the injured limb, it's likely a fracture. Your goal is to immobilize the injured area to prevent further damage. Find something sturdy, branches, sticks, even your trekking poles, and use them to create a splint. For sprains, the Rice method is your friend: rest, ice, compression, and elevation. Chapter 6: Head, Brain, Neck, and Spinal Injuries. These are the most serious injuries you can sustain in the wild, and they require immediate attention. They can happen from a fall, a blow to the head, or even a severe twist of the neck. The first and most crucial step is to immobilize the person's head and neck. If they're conscious, tell them not to move. If they're unconscious, assume a spinal injury and proceed with caution. Keep their head and neck in line with their body. Call for help immediately. While you're waiting for help to arrive, monitor their airway, breathing, and circulation, ABCs. If they stop breathing, you may need to perform CPR, but with a potential spinal injury, every movement must be gentle and controlled. When you're pushing your limits in the heat, your body can overheat. Heat exhaustion and heat stroke are serious conditions that can sneak up on you. Recognizing the signs early is crucial. Heat exhaustion often starts with heavy sweating, dizziness, headache, and nausea. If you notice these symptoms, it's time to cool down immediately. Find a shady spot, drink plenty of fluids, water, or an electrolyte drink is best, and loosen any tight clothing. Heat stroke is a medical emergency. Symptoms include confusion, disorientation, seizures, and even loss of consciousness. If you suspect heat stroke, call 911 immediately. While you're waiting for help, move the person to a cool place, remove any unnecessary clothing, and try to cool them down any way you can. Out in the cold, frostbite is a constant threat. It happens when skin and underlying tissues freeze, usually due to prolonged exposure to freezing temperatures. Fingers, toes, nose, and ears are most vulnerable. Frostbite starts with frost nip. Skin turns white or yellowish, and it feels numb. This is a warning sign. You need to warm up immediately. As frostbite sets in, the affected area may feel hard or waxy and turn blue or purplish. If you suspect frostbite, get to a warm shelter immediately. Gently warm the area using warm water, not hot, or body heat. Once the area is thawed, keep it warm and dry. Get medical attention as soon as possible. Chapter 9: Heat exhaustion. Heat exhaustion is your body crying out for help. It's saying, "Hey, I'm overheating here. I need a break." Don't ignore those signs. You'll feel it coming on. Heavy sweating, dizziness, headache, maybe some nausea. Your muscles might start cramping. Find a shady spot, get out of the sun, rehydrate. Water is essential, but an electrolyte drink is even better. Loosen up any tight clothing. Let your body breathe. And if you have a damp cloth or bandana, put it on your neck or forehead for some extra cooling. Chapter 10: Heat stroke. Heat stroke is no joke. This is a life-threatening emergency that requires immediate action. Your body's internal cooling system has gone haywire, and your core temperature is skyrocketing. The warning signs are different from heat exhaustion. Think confusion, disorientation, even seizures. The person might pass out. If you see these signs, call 911 immediately. While you're waiting for help to arrive, do everything you can to cool the person down. Get them to a cool place, out of the sun if possible. Remove any unnecessary clothing. Loosen what's left. Cool their body down any way you can. Chapter 11: Hypothermia. Hypothermia is the opposite of heat stroke. It's when your body loses heat faster than it can produce it, and your core temperature plummets. It's a silent killer, often creeping in unnoticed until it's too late. Recognizing the early signs is key. It might start with uncontrollable shivering, slurred speech, and clumsiness. If you suspect hypothermia, get the person out of the cold immediately. Find shelter, a cave, a dense stand of trees, anything to block the wind. Remove any wet clothing and replace it with dry layers if possible. If they're conscious, give them warm, sugary drinks. Get them medical attention as soon as possible.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from the basics of wound care to dealing with life-threatening emergencies like heat stroke and hypothermia. Out in the wild, you have to be your own first responder. You might be miles from help with only your wits and your first aid kit to rely on. That's why it's crucial to practice these skills, to feel confident in your abilities. Stay prepared and stay safe.
So I hope you enjoyed the first Prepping Saturday with me here at Off the Wall Prepper. I'm going to be bringing some more interesting topics. We're going to be talking real down-to-earth prepping. I hope this first aid one opens your eyes, gets you thinking about what you need in your first aid kit and what you should carry with you in your car, what you should have at home, and basically take the steps to do the dang thing and to be prepared in case of an emergency. This is OTWP. I hope you have a great Saturday. I'll see you all tomorrow night for trivia. We're playing. I'll be posting the live stream right after this premiere. God bless from here in Colorado to wherever you're at. Make today count. Keep taking the steps and keep doing the dang thing on a daily basis. Until I see you again.